Good evening. A man was fatally shot by an unknown assailant on Brooks Level Road in Stony Hill, St. Andrew last night. The deceased has been identified as 50-year-old Lariston Harrison, aka Larry, a tiler of Brooks Level Road, Stony Hill. Reports coming into our news center are that at approximately 8:50 p.m., Harrison was inside his house when he was pounced upon by gunmen who opened fire, hitting him multiple times. The police were alerted and he was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Superintendent Aaron Fletcher, head of the St. Andrew North Police Division, said that it is suspected that it may be a continuation from a triple murder that happened some time ago.
It's on the rural side of things, deep within the Stony Hill outskirts. A little footpath takes you there, and so this man was shot and killed. Multiple gunshot injuries is what we detected on his body. We believe it may be a continuation of a conflict that sometime last year saw a triple murder taking place within that said community. It is, as a matter of fact, it is in proximity to the house, the premises where that triple murder took place. So far, no suspects. Given the geographic outlay of the space, it is not very easy for us, unless somebody who would have seen or who has knowledge would have come forward already. That has not been the case. We are, however, hoping that someone somewhere who might have been exposed to the planning, the coordinating of the activities that culminated in that murder will, through some means available, assist the police by providing some information. We need to resolve this conflict. We need to cause it to be resolved. We need to get at the players. And there are some primary players out there.
In other news, a somber mood was very evident at the St. Andrew Technical High School stats today as classmates and friends of Omar Lang mourned the fatal shooting of the promising footballer. Lang was fatally shot in a drive-by on Charles Street in West Kingston on Friday, April 22. He was celebrating his 18th birthday when he was shot. Lang's grief-stricken colleagues and football teammates openly wept on the school compound this morning while being consoled by visiting members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. National Safe Schools Unit Coordinator Inspector Tanisha Johnson promised to find those responsible for his killing.
Offer our sincere condolences to you, the students, the teachers of the St. Andrew Technical High School. I can also say the family members at the St. Andrew Technical High School. This morning, it is indeed a very sad morning for me. So whilst you might not see the literal tears, I am bleeding inside. Because too long, as a nation, we get into a level of hypocrisy as it relates to safety and security of our children. Too long, as parents and as stakeholders, we forget our mandate. We forget the reason why we're adults. We also forget the reason why we are placed in the lives of our children. And without any reservation, I can say this morning that we are slowly failing our children. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, and by extension, the Safe Schools Unit, and our local CSSB team, the Kingston Western CSSB team, we stand resolute. We will stand with you through the good and the bad times. As police officers, we cannot undo what was done. But from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, we pledge that we will put out all stops. We'll stop at nothing at all. And this is not just talking. To ensure that those who are involved in the killing of young Omar will be brought to justice.
Mr. Williams, a teacher at the school, also remembered the promising football star as a leader and trendsetter who was interested in learning.
That all is not well. Leng has been a great student. He was not so much online due to no device. When I intercept him at grade 11 September, and I reach out to him and I take him to school, he was using the lab, he was learning to log on, he was interested in learning. When I observe him sitting with the ballers, even when they were discussing some things not so right or saying some words, I could never see Leng taking part. He will just there sitting calmly on his phone or just observing. That's Leng. Peace. Someone of peace. Yes, we're going to miss him, but we will have to be strong for each other. You can't say that you're okay now because honestly you're not okay. This is the opportunity to open up and let's start the healing process, and we can only heal when we talk about Leng. We all know the goodness. He always correct you all. You're doing something wrong, he's going to say don't do it. And that's Leng, an example setter, trendsetter, leader who is no longer with us. And we are called upon to carry on his legacy. And that's what I have to say.
A representative from the Victim Services Division of the Ministry of Justice, Omar Mattis, said that the killing of Leng is very unfortunate and encouraged his peers to go through the grieving process as they mourn their friend.
But really, a sad occasion. I heard the news, I think it was Friday night, and I said to my wife, wow, on his birthday, wow. It's very painful. I can only imagine. But rest assured that you're going to get through this. There's a lot of support. The JCF, the school, Victim Services now is on board, and we're here to support you through this process. I want to encourage you that it's okay not to be okay right now. I've been in this work and in this field long enough to recognize that in our society, we don't really allow for persons to grieve. Our culture, I call it the me alright man syndrome, all right? Where we are challenged and forced to seem like we are resilient and strong. And so in occasions like this, the automatic response is, boy, I'm all right. I'm good, sir. I'm good, miss. I'm good. But deep down, we're struggling. We're hurting. And I want to encourage every one of you, friends of Omar, that it's okay right now to feel sad. It's okay right now to be angry. So it's okay right now to be in that zone, all right? It's the early stage of the grief process. We want to challenge you though, that even as you go through the process, that you seek the necessary help and take and receive the necessary help that is there made available.
Still tonight, the leadership of the security forces says it is aware of the increase in contract killings on the island and has vowed to develop various tactical approaches to remedy the worrying trend. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang, while speaking at a press briefing on Saturday, said contract killings are now becoming an epidemic and that the situation requires a level of intensity of information that the government does not have at this point.
I said we are here to reassure the community, to identify the families and express to us deep concern, but also to send a message to people that we are not just concerned, we are taking steps to begin to fix this problem. But the question of contract killing, being hired by criminals to kill people across the country, is an emerging epidemic that is of putting, raising the, not only raising the treasuries, but is a serious challenge to the policing mechanism. And but the security forces are responding and taking steps to intercept and deal with that problem. I want to do it from here because the death of any Jamaican citizen is of concern to the ministry, the minister, and to the entire government, and to all the decent law-abiding citizens. But we had something which was particularly traumatic. We had a 3-year-old child. I met his father, and my young man, who in fact had brought up this child from infancy because he had a separated mother from early on. So his party closed, and he was just walking by to his home and lost his 3-year-old son, who I gather is quite a perky looking young man, speaks up and showing, good spirit. It's a major tragedy and a shock to the community. And we'll do everything we can not only to apprehend the criminals, but to restore some safety in the community.
Dr. Chang addressed the media after he visited the grieving families of 3-year-old Kamoil Williams Jr. and 27-year-old Tavares Stevens in Cascade, Hanover on April 23. Both were killed in Hilobi District, Cascade on April 20. The shooting also left another person injured. Dr. Chang said that arrests have been made of persons engaged in the illegal practice of lotto scamming.
Yes, quite a few lotto scams have been taken up in the last 12 weeks in particular.
Correct, Minister.
What I can assure the country, and we'll have to look at how we communicate the results to the public. Some have been extradited and some are here and are being tried. And I see a few judges taking the sentencing regime a little bit differently, right? With these characters, because they realize, and I appreciate that. It's their discretion, but I think the sensitivity of the challenge is increasing, and I want to give some support to that. But what I want to assure is that the work around lotto has increased significantly. I said I won't go into the details because that's the message. These guys are slick. But there's been much work going on, and quite a few have been apprehended, and much more will be apprehended. But we have to even work more extensively because they are scattering. You'll have noticed in recent times, as I said, downtown Montego Bay, quite frankly, is, except for the traffic, it's a safe place to walk. But you hear Warsop, wait a bit, Troy, Adelphi, Chelsea, Cambridge, Copperwood. These are all deep rural areas. And we know it is because lotto scammers are found. They know they don't need to be in town. When you have a gang dealing drugs, they have to be together in a spot. There's 2 or 3 individuals move out, do their thing, and they go to a place where there's good service, etc. So we have the security forces are working at it, and the government committed to give them more resources in this area because it requires both human and technical resources for them to be able to deal with this thing.
Meanwhile, head of the Area 1 Police Division, Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers, in his remarks, said that persons have been arrested in connection with the murders of Stevens and Kamoil.
Fortunately, we're here because of a double murder. What we can say so far is that persons have been arrested. There are some interrogations that will continue. We are aware of where it's coming from, and whilst we can't say much on that right now, I'm heartened by the information that is coming from the community itself. And I must also admit that there is a level of community involvement that will be strengthened by our police officers who have responsibility for this space as well. So, it's very unfortunate, especially when a child died, but I'm heartened by the support and information that we're getting so far. I can't say where they were held, but we have 2 in custody at present. And what we know is that there is association with someone who is presently in hospital, and our investigators are following some strong leads that takes us outside of this location.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Eastern Hanover, Dave Brown, said that the entire community of Hilobi District is devastated by the incident.
To be honest with you, I am extremely devastated. Cascade is not a community known for this. My 6 years plus, I've never seen any such crime in this community and surrounding communities. As you'd have looked around, you'd have seen even the town center. You're seeing farming activities going on. So it's really a farming community. These are communities that persons really request farming assistance, and more like persons who want to go on farm work programs. It's a quiet as you would have seen it. This is just one of the quietest communities I have in this constituency. That 311 number is not being utilized. That 1-888-991-4000. Those are numbers that person can actually reach persons out there. When you see this strange person coming to the community, you can utilize those numbers. I don't think enough information is being passed on.
Continuing with the news tonight, Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck has urged the 48 newly minted Justices of the Peace, JPs, for the parish of St. James to exemplify what is good and right with Jamaica as they work to influence change across the parish. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony for the new cohort of JPs at the Montego Bay Convention Center, Rose Hall, St. James, Mr. Chuck called on the JPs to use their status to inspire excellence and promote good governance and good citizenship in their communities.
I want to emphasize to the 48 of you, I expect that each of you will be a beacon of civility and decency across Jamaica. It is urgent and important that you exemplify what is expected of you as a Justice of the Peace. You must be, as the Act says, and I'm sure your instructor emphasized more than 100 times, that you must be of unquestionable integrity. It is said, quite wrongly, that everyone has a price. I deny that. And let me emphasize to each of you, your integrity and character has no price. And you must ensure that not only do you enjoy the integrity of which we expect of you, but that you continue or ensure that you are of unblemished character.
The minister condemned JPs who engage in fraudulent activities and use their titles to secure financial benefits.
Jamaica is looking to you and Justices of the Peace across every community to be that symbol of hope, of justice, of decency, and the leaders who will secure peace across every neighborhood and community. And if they should look on you and other JPs as scammers, as thieves, as dishonest persons, then you will lose any respect that you will have. And sadly, there is a small minority who doesn't care about their role as JP. They will use and abuse this status of a JP for enrichment. It is not only wrong, but it sends the unfortunate signals that hurt the really law-abiding JPs across Jamaica. Forget the past, if it's bad. If it's good, make sure you continue to be good. But for the next many decades that you will serve as Justice of the Peace, let your community look up to you for leadership, for guidance, for information.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn, urged the JPs to ensure that they put service above self when serving the people.
I believe that Justices of the Peace, you have the capacity to be the man and the woman in the mirror to me, the Director of Public Prosecutions. I heard the talk about being a powerful woman, but I regard myself as being your humble servant, because we both, Justices of the Peace, the minister, the custos, the councillors, the political representatives, we are the people who serve the public of this country. It is so important that when you go into this commissioning, in terms of your state of mind, it has to be about having a passion. You develop it in giving service above self.
She also called on the justices to guard their reputations from disrepute.
So here it is. Each and every one of you have to be aware that if you slip and you do something that is unethical or illegal, you will cause the entire team, not only of justices of the peace in the parish, but the reputation and the standing of justices of the peace island-wide will be put into disrepute. So I am calling on the more seasoned justices of the peace, the custodies, to guard their reputation zealously. And if it is that it comes to your attention that one of your brethren or sisters are acting unethically or illegally, you cannot be afraid to rock the boat. There is no room for the body boy system or the patriarchy or the sisterhood in that. Because when that person is found out, even without being found out, it contaminates the rest of the citizens. And they will talk loosely and say, oh, after that I know nothing. It's so some of these justices stay. We can't have that.
Still making the news tonight, scores of motorists were forced to make U-turns after discovering that access to the Halfway Tree Road from Retirement Road had been closed to vehicular traffic by the National Works Agency NWA to facilitate major drainage improvement works. The road has been closed since Friday, April 22, to construct a box culvert at a cost of just over $8 million. It's clear that some motorists were not aware of the notices in the media that the road would have been blocked off, and so they ventured into the area. Although the road has been closed, pedestrian access will be maintained at the intersection. The NWA is advising motorists to use any of the available detours around the construction area. These include Retirement Crescent to the north or Studio One Boulevard to the south. Motorists may also travel east along Curfew Road, then onto Slipe Road and northwards back to Crossroads. There is also the option of traveling south along Studio One Boulevard, east onto Slipe Road, then into Crossroads. When complete, the box culvert is expected to significantly mitigate flooding along Halfway Tree Road in the vicinity of Retirement Road. Continuing with the news tonight, Deputy Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Richard Vernon, announced last week that travel changes will be made for the Carnaldi Road in Montego Bay due to major traffic congestion in that area.
We are looking at some traffic rearrangement within the city of Montego Bay, and we have gone ahead and met with our key stakeholders within the city, the National Works Agency, Jamaica Fire Brigade, public health, principals for schools, quite a number of our stakeholders. We met with a view to look at the situation, the traffic situation within the vicinity of Carnaldi Avenue Primary School. And coming out of that meeting, we are of the view that that area will need some traffic rearrangement. And therefore, we will be visiting the location to look at the possible strategies and also to put a dry run in place for, well, after we have gone through this break, this Easter break, and to see how best it can work and then implement it. But we expect that once the strategies are successful, the congestion will reduce and we can have a better flow of traffic coming down Barnett Street, Miriam Way, and all the surrounding areas.
Councillor Vernon outlined works that have been done during the final quarter of 2021 to improve the infrastructure of St. James to the sum of over $165 million.
During the final quarter of the fiscal year 2020-2021, the municipal corporation has expended over $165 million improving the infrastructure within the municipality of St. James. Among them are the construction of bus stops in Montego Bay Central, construction of welcome sign, Montego Bay Northeast, and other community signs across the parish. We also did the multipurpose court in Welcome Hall, rehabilitation of bridge in Salter Hill, Springmount, rehabilitation of Jackson Road in Maroon Town, rehabilitation of Prosper Road, Welcome Hall, rehabilitation of bridge at Albion, and quite a number of other parochial roads. We have been working very closely with the Tourism Enhancement Fund and the Tourism Development Products Company to ensure that all the facilities where necessary, the infrastructure rather, where necessary, are improved. And they have been supporting us immensely and have injected over $100 million into our infrastructural projects.
He also urged property owners to keep their lands and property in good order, as the municipality will take action if nothing is done to clean up these properties.
We have a lot of overgrown lots within the municipality, and they are posing all sorts of threats. They are posing threat to community safety and security, health, and of course, in the area of social upliftment, it just does not look good within the communities. We are urging property owners, we are urging these proprietors to ensure that they keep their lots in good order. Because if they don't, we will be taking action. We are prepared to take action. And there will be penalties. So once again, we are urging you to take care of your properties, or we will have to step in and do the necessary things.
Meanwhile, Councillor Vernon announced plans for a program to deal with the matter of homelessness in the parish.
There are various reasons as to why we experience an increase in homelessness. But what I will say to you is that through the municipal corporation, through our Poor Relief Committee and our Poor Relief Department, we are putting together a program to deal with the matter of homelessness. And this program will include a GIS mapping system to help us better monitor the locations where homeless persons would frequent, so we can have a better understanding of the trend. This program will also help us to generate a better reporting system, and we'll see the creation of transitional facilities that will help us to help the homeless persons to move from a state of homelessness to be reintegrated into society.
In other news tonight, Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams says the ministry has requested an urgent meeting with the chairwoman of CARICOM's Council for Human and Social Development, Senator Kay McConney, to appeal for an extension of this year's secondary exit exams. Minister Williams revealed this during her closing remarks at the installation ceremony of the National Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica 2021 to 2023 cohort at the office of the Prime Minister on Friday.
Back in January of this year, in collaboration with the National Secondary Students Council, we conducted a survey in February 23, between February 23 and March 8th, just asking the views of students about how they feel about their preparedness for the exams, and to give us a sense of the go forward for both the CSEC and CAPE. And out of that survey, we surveyed 2,812 students, and 1,754 of them really had concerns. They expressed the need for additional time to prepare for the sitting of the these exams. And so the ministry would have taken steps to raise this concern with CXC. You know, we believe our students here in Jamaica deserve additional time for their exams. And so today I would have written to the Honorable Kay McConney, who is the new Minister of Education in Barbados, but she's also the chair of the council, the CARICOM's Council for Human and Social Development, which is COSAD, and it's that body to which we will be taking this. I've asked her for an urgent meeting so that we can convene that with that body for us to present our case to them.
She noted that the ministry will be advocating heavily for an extension, even as CXC requests that students defer to the following year if they are not ready to take their exams.
We believe that our students in Jamaica and across the region have been significantly impacted. They have tried, you know, especially students who have their school-based assessment work to do. They absolutely need more time. And so we will be advocating strenuously for this. COSAD is the kind of last level, you know, in terms of upping the severity or upping, you know, just calling attention to this problem. So I want our Jamaican students to know that their cries have been heard. We've indicated this all along in terms of what we've been doing, the letters we've been writing and the conversations and so on. But we're at a point now where we have to call an urgent meeting for this this council, Council for Human and Social Development, in order to help us to get the you know, to get some attention to our request. Yes, we understand that CXC has indicated that if students are not ready, they can defer, but we do not believe that that is the only option that should be available for our students. It's one option, but shouldn't be the only option.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in his keynote address at the installation ceremony, said that the Youth Advisory Council is in keeping with his promise to ensure that youths are involved in the governance of their country.
The establishment of the Youth Advisory Council was in keeping with a campaign promise which my government made in our 2016 manifesto. We pledged that we would create a Youth Advisory Council to enable the representation of youth perspectives at the highest decision-making level of government. The intention was for the Youth Advisory Council to inject innovation and creative approaches into the governance process, as well as to make very practical input to ensure that government policies are relevant to the needs of the youth population. I'm pleased to say that we have not only kept this promise to include youth in our governance considerations, but we have sustained their involvement across 2 terms of our administration. Presently, the Youth Advisory Council provides support to the government in mainstreaming youth issues into national policies and development strategies. The Youth Advisory Council also acts as a steering committee for the National Youth Parliament, ensuring that the deliberations of the Parliament are presented to and discussed with relevant decision makers.
Mr. Holness also pointed out that this youth cohort has been hard at work since 2021.
This is significant as the first cohort of the Youth Advisory Council revitalized the National Youth Parliament, which has given young Jamaicans the opportunity to participate in civic engagement and learn firsthand about our democracy. The National Youth Parliament continues to grow from strength to strength, with some members of the Youth Parliament becoming members of the Youth Advisory Council. While this formal installation ceremony is being held now, this cohort of youth advisors has been hard at work since their official appointment in 2021. Despite the limitations imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, this cohort has hosted a youth vaccination campaign, a youth think tank, the 12th sitting of the National Youth Parliament, Youth Parliament capacity building workshops, and the Youth Parliament county projects. This was all achieved during the pandemic and serves as a testament to the energy and vitality of our youth. Youth has always been a focal point for me. And that would be the case because as the youngest Prime Minister in Jamaica's history, I know quite a bit about the doubts and questions persons may have about youth leadership. They may question our ability to make meaningful contributions or make improvements in long-established systems and norms.
And we turn our attention now to tonight's COVID-19 update, where the Ministry of Health and Wellness reported 70 new COVID-19 cases yesterday, increasing the infection total now to 129,632. No deaths were recorded for the period. There were 62 recoveries in the last 24 hours, increasing the total of recovered persons now to 83,068. The new cases comprise 44 females and 26 males, ranging in age from 1 day to 108 years. In tonight's COVID-19 parish breakdown, St. James recorded 18 cases, Kingston and St. Andrew recorded 16 cases, St. Anne recorded 12 cases, Westmoreland recorded 9 cases, St. Catherine 5 cases, Hanover and St. Mary recorded 3 cases each. St. Thomas recorded 2 cases, while Trelawney and Manchester recorded 1 case each. There were 62 recoveries in the last 24 hours, increasing the total of recovered persons to 83,068. And those are the stories making news. We now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with the sports.